everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and it is full cam time, baby. These just got launched around the time that I'm recording. They just released them. I'm excited to take a look at them. This is our home field that we're used to diving into, so I'm excited for it. And yes, you are seeing correctly. I did get some hair extensions here, so it's just nice. It's different, and so don't be fooled. It is the same person. I just have longer hair. And just a couple things, little disclaimers to keep in mind before getting into the analysis. I will most likely be going heavy overview in comparison to the nooks and crannies of the analysis that I normally do, for the sheer fact that we've already done a full version reaction analysis of those, and then we've done the episode viewing for the first unit, so it is going to be really hard to be objective when looking at composition for that reason. And I don't know the results of unit 2. I forgot about unit 1, and you're going to see in the analysis part for unit 1 that I remember who ends up taking what, so keep that in mind. Subtle spoiler alerts. And I do preface this multiple times in the analysis, and I will say it again here because I really care about it. Please do not take my perspective as validation for you to trash other teams. I will not tolerate that in my comments, okay? So I've been noticing it a couple of times. Please, you are allowed to be constructive to me. You're allowed to be constructive. But please do not be constructive for the sake of justifying your preference of team, okay? So keep that in mind going in. I'm excited for this. Let's go. Juwon did well in adjusting to the handheld mics. First time he's ever done it based on behind the scenes, so he did great. It's a good skill set to have. Cute. I love you can hear the kiss in the microphone. That was fun. The LEDs are so cool. It really does help. So you hear the audience, but there's a really high chance they could have potentially added that in. We don't know, guys. At the end of the day, we've already seen full versions, so we'll be okay. But okay, moving on. Next one. That LED's cool. Good for Woonki too, for being able to do the performance with not as much physical fluency or the time to get acquainted to it, singing and dancing because of his burns. Cool. All right, here we go. Roller coaster. Interesting. I like thinking about it. It's interesting that we went with the purples and pinks when their color palette is primarily reds and whites and neutrals. Okay, so here's what's interesting about this is that like the live performances were great because you got to see their performance quality, meaning like more facials and how they use and work with the camera. These were shot very well on camera. I still stand by my notes to SBS though. On my preference, and I know most agree with me here, please focus on who is actually being featured because some people are only featured probably once or twice in the entire track, and if you're gonna have it pan over to somebody else in that moment and it's not a dance feature, for me it kind of feels like a missed opportunity to really showcase the people that are working hard, performing. And I know there have been people that have said, well, Jess, it's probably to, whenever it's, let's say, a more popular member and they have more lines, then they may deviate the camera to another person. But then I would then rebuttal that and say, then we should talk about line distribution to begin with and have it more to where you can see more of those people featured, or incorporate in the choreography more dance features for those individuals who do not have as many lines. So for me, I still stand by that thought, and that's just across the board with every single, I think, performance version that we saw. It was like that. I honestly don't have a preference on these. I could see I can see any one of them winning the round for any particular reason. I'm trying to think. Who ended up taking? Did they even reveal who won Unit 1? Oh my God, I don't remember. Oh yeah, they did. It was Beat was third, Rhythm was second, and Groove was first, was what ended up happening, right? I'd see, look, it's been a whole week. I didn't even remember it. Okay. So, it doesn't surprise me. I will say that a big key takeaway that I have heard from people who have been on site voting is it is a bit hard to see what's going on stage, which firstly, that's a logistic for SBS to fix. If you're going to have people voting in the audience, make it to where it's very easy for them to see what's going on, right? Now, whether or not that's an excuse, that's whatever. I'm not there. I can't attest to that. And so listening to vocals is more of a priority, right? But then also for me as a dance educator, I come from the lens on I really care about choreography, right? But also I understand that it's not just about choreo, which is why I don't just look at dance practices. I look at these because this is what they're being voted on, not their dance practice, where you don't sing, right? So I get it. I get it because if we think about the live vocals, they have a handheld mic, they can control the volume. We don't know what was modified by SBS. I'm not there. So I can't attest to any of that. And so it's a what if game here, right? But I do know with the Unit 2s, we really have no idea, or I have no idea at this point who ended up taking it. So that'll be really fun. But let's go ahead and talk through it. I'm probably going to do more overview because I was able to touch on a lot of it. Groove's choreography, if you're gonna kind of chalk it up like an itemization, they have subtleties of the hands, which is nice. They are focusing more on vocals. That makes sense because of the group, because of the director. That's what he prioritizes. For me, as an individual who came from that Gen 2 fan realm, I like having live vocals because it allows me to appreciate the artist, and it's just so impressive whenever you see people dance and sing. This is not easy for any of them to do this, even if their choreo is, let's say, remotely simpler than the other two groups that went. That doesn't mean that it's less than. You have to think about the checks and balances and the pros and cons of what you're trying to balance out here. They're trying to have very stable vocals, and there's some demands made on the body that are, they want to make it visually and aesthetically pleasing, but you don't want there to be any voice cracks, any issues that happen on stage, and so you make certain concessions. I don't think any group was clean. if I'm being honest, based on these full cams here, but it doesn't mean they didn't get cleaned up from rehearsal to full performance, or is this full performance? We don't know, right? So I don't mind it. It does feel more muted here, which is what makes me feel like there is a chance that this could be a rehearsal. But it could also be the actual performance, and they just shot it really well. There's so many things in this, right? They present high to low, so they end up syncopating out of that, which is fine. New feature reveals. Their reveals and features look nice. They go and they branch it away, which is cool. I think out of the three, I do feel like the line distribution for groove felt a little bit more spread out compared to rhythm and beat. Beat, it really felt like it was Kyrie and Chaehoungi, right? And I still feel that way. Like, it's so interesting. And a complete side note, isn't it fascinating how when you learn about the behind the scenes of the units, you tend to focus on different things when you watch it in the episode? Because that's what happened to me. Because I said a lot of my points about, let's say, Park Han being more of like a fill-in. Yes, he's playing a main vocal role here, right? But he's filling in spaces. But based on how they set up the behind the scenes, we were looking at something completely different, right? We were looking at the handheld mics again, the fighting for our spot situations, right? Not only that, you had with Beat, you were so focused on the fact that Chaehoungi had like 3 days to get it together because he had a burn and he wasn't allowed to sweat. So that's like a real thing, you know? And I said a lot of interesting things about that, but we'll tackle that. You know, it's in the episode viewing. But all this here, this is fine. Framing is fine. I like the subtlety of that. Right here, I like the bleeds on that. Looks nice. The chest is fun. I like the ISO there. Boom, boom. Accent's great. I have people commenting, asking me who my top 7 would be. Mr. Quarterzip, who got eliminated in the first round of eliminations, would have been in my top 7. I still stand by that. If he was still here, I'd still, you know, he did a fantastic job, and he got the smallest amount of screen time. So that's still considered a first pick for me. But I would sincerely really like to see Park Han in the final lineup. He was a draft pick personally for me from the jump. So I tend to be very loyal as an individual for going off of me as a human. So out of everybody here in the group, if I were to pick one person I would really want to see debut in the group, Park Han, for sure. If groups, like, staying in your group wasn't an issue. So this is nice. I like the chest on that, was really nice on a lot of our choices. And also, we have the rapper in the back. We ended up focusing on him a lot more in the episode, which was super dope, too. Right? Boom. Da-dun, 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 dun, ba-da, boom, 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 da-dun. Now, this is not simple. That's syncopated, right? And you're switching your textures. Click, 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 da, boom, boom. Using your chest, isolations, adding a pop out of that. Those aren't ideal in singing conditions, okay? So, they're doing pretty decent on that. Na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Which is nice. I like the presentation of that, which was fun. The little pickups are super cute. Hana, dude, set. All that was cute with a little rebounding action out of that, which was fun. Yeah, that part's fine. This does feel simpler, this verse too, compared to what I think could have potentially happened. So that would honestly, if I were to give a note, that would be my one thing, is I appreciated how they set up that first verse and the chorus, but then going into verse 2, it was like, okay, we're kind of holding out space or taking up time until we get to our next features, until we get here, right? So we grab the harp, little shoulder shrugs, switch ups, nice. Boom, with the head, na-na, yeah. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Cool, little ISOs were fine. Like, look, how they all set out and out, which is fine, but also I find interesting, I'm not quite sure what was going on in our inside too, on the timing there, right? So if you look here, oh, okay. I've got that figured out. So that's what ended up happening. They went in the first group, and then they went in the second group. Cool, so they wanted to provide more, I would say, complexity in skipping people instead of making it on each side. Is that the most readable? That part, yes, but the other parts with the heel toes, not as much, because we weren't doing a level change. So, but that's whatever. That's preference. Ba 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 da I'm building up. It's fine. No. Oh. Da-dum, 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 boom, 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 boom. So it looks like the same choreo for chorus and for the post-chorus. What could help in those cases would be different formations or more obvious formation changes, levels, dynamics, just like they were showing in the pre-chorus of the first chorus. That would have those were really nice, and I think they ended up doing that for chorus 2, but because we did the same thing, that's why it kind of felt like, okay, it feels like we're kind of doing the same thing again, because we are, right? But yeah, I would say, yeah, we have different distributions of lines, which is fine. It's cool. Love it. Mwah. Now, this is nice. I like it. How the little circle out of that, which is fun. Good framing. They walk around. I love me a good mirror transition to go to the back. Looks great. They go low, high. Love the hop to help finish that out. Looks great. Bounce. Boom. Da 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 da. Boom. Boom. Do do do. Same thing again, different formation. LED does help, I will say that, because it's different. That was nice. Notice we deviated, so I like that choreo. All of that would have been really cool if we entertained an add-on, a break-off, something along those lines, meaning that we had some separation of dancers or our members joining in or separating themselves from the choreo. It does feel heavy on the unison, and normally whenever you have heavy unison, you're going to want to look at it with a microscope and compare. That's just naturally what you're going to do with your eye. That's why I always heed caution the more unison you put in choreography and you don't deviate it with dynamics or levels. Allow the eye something else to chew on while we're watching, because that's what's going to happen. And so I can see that being the topic of conversation for this one. Now, here's what I'm not going to entertain, just as a complete side note. Any of my perspective or commentary here, please don't use as ammo to justify your hate towards another group, because I don't dislike any group or any member. I actually am very proud and impressed at how competitive this challenge was across the board. Even with these units, I couldn't tell you who I would have picked, if I'm being completely honest. And I think there's beauty in that. So if you hear me give a compliment to a group, let's say with Groove, I liked the fact that they're so freaking stable in their vocals. That's a very reliable trait that for me, when I'm looking at artists, it's something that I like to have comfort in, if I'm being honest, right? Now, do I see them as less than in choreography? No, I think that the choreography is tailored to what their priorities are, which is vocals first. And then you have other groups where the performance is first, like rhythm. Both can exist in the same place. It's all down to preference. Some fans are going to prefer a fuller package performance with more movement because we're so saturated in that in our market, and that's okay. But also some people like myself can also prefer that and this because of my background of being a Gen 2 K-pop fan, where this kind of movement quality was more of the norm, right? It's nostalgic for me. It's something I appreciate, and I understand the choices. And then you have Team B. As a human, I'm always rooting for them because I want them to see success, right? I was so happy that they won in the track and field situation of episode 6. That wasn't it was competitive in a fun way, but I was rooting for them there. You know what I mean? So please, I'm saying this right now. If you've made it this far, please do not take what I'm saying as anti another group. I'm not going to tolerate that, and I will probably remove your comment because I'm not going to deal with it, if I'm being honest. Go to Reddit for that, not here. So, because I've been noticing it on a couple of videos, and I'm not going to entertain it. Anyway, I like the subtle levels on that, which is fun, and they melt out of it, which is really nice. That was cute, that little moment there. Now, do I personally feel like this could have been the perfect stopping place for the song? That's how I feel, but then it feels like we're still going. It's fine at the end of the day, but that would be like my one little observation here. It's a fake out for me. I'm like, oh, we're still going, which, I mean, if that's what they want to have, that's fine. I like the levels on that with the subtlety, and then we needed to have that moment, which was cute. It was a very cute moment. They should be proud of that. It's good performance. Of course, could it be cleaner? always. The answer will be always. Okay. But they did very well. Stable on vocals from what, we've heard here. And it was pretty competitive. And my pick for the group that I just really would like as a human, I would like to see in the final lineup would be Parkon, because I clocked him in the draft in the beginning first round. Okay, here we go. Now we have My. The two that really held it down, Cheongi and Kairi. I said that when I watched the performance. They melted down. I liked the beginning of it. We already have a lot of dynamics in play. You had it every other, and then you had it from one side and the other side, which looks cool. So he had his moment. His priority was putting that blindfold on. Now, could he have body rolled through that to make it its own little thing? Yes, but when you actually incorporate a body roll while doing this, it makes it a little bit harder to kind of tie, because you're working the range of bringing it up. If you're body rolling that same direction, you don't have this opposition pressure that's going to help you tie it. So having dun dun boom, him going back, him neutralizing like that makes logistic sense to actually get it tied. But that moment here, because of his stiffness, felt like he was trying to get it tied, and now he can loosen up a little bit more. So that would be my one, observation there, if I were to say anything. Yeah, they hit it through, the press up there. Melt throughs are nice. Boom, boom. Hey. That was good for camera, that whole little moment there. It was cool. No. Da 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 da. The pull throughs are fine. That did it. Da la. Also looks really nice. Boom, boom. And they say, come on, let's go. I like the opposition, so they do have more of these shifts happening dynamically with levels, things of that nature. It's cool. We're here for it. Very nice. And this was really nice too. I really like how he chose that little moment. He extended that hand out. We go and we fold those arms up. The pull away is nice. The melts are great. And then the little come in through looks nice. Dive in. Vibe in. Da 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 da. Cool. Nice unison, looks fine, but we have a feature deviate. I like that. I do prefer, especially if it's complementary to what we're seeing. The highlight summer, I like the texture changes, look fine. So when it comes to complexity out of groove to beat, I do like beats complexity of structure. There's more to digest. There's more to enjoy about the routine, not just the content. Look at how the content's being presented, right? The packaging of it. And that looks really nice. Now, am I one that prefers the sex appeal type of routines? Not really. But I understand that is a concept. My big priority is always an age thing. It's as long as we're all adults here in this situation, especially if we're really trying to pull this, look at my body vibes. I don't want to look at a 14-year-old's body like that. If I'm being honest, as a 28-year-old, that makes me mad uncomfortable, and I'll be okay with dying on that hill today. So, and the opposition looks nice there. So yeah, with levels, all that looks nice. Now, how did this sound in the studio? I have no idea, but it sounds fine. They hold it down well. Now, this move right here, what I remember noting in the full versions was I saw Cheongi's reverb. He was one of the only ones that clocked that, and everybody else was still. But looking here, we had Kairi also reverb a little bit, which made it more balanced. I think somebody in the comments mentioned that too. And so, yes, I agree, and I do see it here too. So thank you for pointing that out. That does help, because even though felt very weighty, it could very simply be because Cheongi was naturally in our camera shots quite often, and Kairi's arm was in the shot, but his face wasn't. We naturally are wanting to look at people that we're super exposed to. That makes sense. I get that. Just like you always are looking for your bias whenever you're watching a K-pop, or just a routine, right? You're like, oh my God, where's my bias here? You're on the hunt. Where's Waldoing for your bias? Did they change their hair color? What's going on? We love it. I'm here for it, right? So I think part of that could be I was so saturated in Cheongi there. That clocking, that just really caught me, and his arm was really close to the feature, more so than others, just there in that moment, and that's fine, that's life. Oh, and also, Kyrie had a leather glove that was black with a black LED back. So that could be another reason why it was harder to see the reverb. So there's always things. I'm human at the end of the day, you know. Just like even with this analysis, some people may be like, "Oh my gosh, she's not showing emotion and she's just talking." I kind of feel like, you know, we're analyzing. We're doing the actual analysis part here. More so overview, right? I don't want to go in the nooks and crannies here like we did on the initial watch. And I think that's okay. I feel like it's fine if as a human here, to be able to just kind of chill through it and just kind of do overview and just kind of talk through guides at the end of the day. What's beautiful is that everybody was strong and everybody did well. And so even though the points laid out how they were, um, that's life and that's okay, you know, because we don't know the back end logistics on all this. We don't know the politics. We don't know people's mindsets going into vote. We don't know that. We only go off of what we see and what we're told by SBS. We're told by people on Reddit and Twitter or X or YouTube, right? So that's why I'm like, I'm really trying to not, I'm not trying to overly invest emotionally about it, because there's always a bigger picture that we're not going to have the privilege as an audience of enjoying, right? Now, this was Mr. Yellow from One and Only from Drafts, and I know some people are picking up on him more so now in this episode, but that's why for me, if anything, that's why I really do prefer the full cams, because I was able to appreciate him way back on Drafts and not have to wait until SBS pulled their narrative to show him more in the videos. You know what I mean? So, and it's okay for me to say that. Like, I am totally allowed to feel this way. As somebody on this journey with you guys, y'all have hot takes, I have some hot takes too. You know, y'all know how it is. Now the question would be, who would I select out of this group to want to debut? I'm really rooting for Chaunki, because I would say episode 6, his personality destroyed me. It was really funny how his personality is, right? And he's very consistent and he's strong and he has a solid fan base. So I can see it. I can see SBS having him be in the group. Because you also have to remember too, just because everybody's favorites are in different groups, I don't technically think that means that they're not gonna qualify if, let's say, one group wins the show or whatever. We have no idea, like, what's gonna go down for this last episode. You know, like, we don't know how people are gonna be picked. They're probably gonna say, here's how people are being selected. We don't actually, like, 100% know until the 10th episode gets launched, I feel. Unless they reveal it in episode 9 or 8 that I haven't seen yet. And that's okay, right? That'll be fun whenever we encounter it. But I do feel like it's totally safe to have multiple people from different teams on your top 7, because I do think global vote can matter and factor into that, right? So I would really want Chaunki to be in the group, because it would give him a really strong start in a debut that he was low-key promised from Mnet in 2 back in 2020. So I think that he got a bit, that everybody involved in that K-pop group back in 2020, they got the short end of that stick hard, because Mnet's like, this is gonna be the next big world group, da 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 da, and you know, the pandemic happened, and then there was a whole not plagiarism, but like there was a copyright infringement or something that happened with the group name. It was just a hot mess the whole time. Not their fault, but I hope that he's able to have a redemptive, you know, moment with that. But anyway, Kyrie is a huge contender. This actually, I think, put him on a lot of people's radars. In this, and I can see him as a genuine contender, because we're also looking at demographic, like nationalities, I think does play a role too. Which at the end of the day, that's good. We're gonna have some disappointing results in some way, because there's gonna be, you may want 2 people that are the same nationality make it in, and only one gets picked. Like, I really do feel like that's what's going to be happening, is that we're going to have like one Japanese member, one Korean, like a Korean member, maybe 2 Korean members. You're going to have maybe a Thai member, Chinese member. You know, if they're wanting a global group, they're going to have global individuals. You could have people from, you know, I know we have JL. I will be surprised if JL doesn't make it in the final lineup. You know, I think and he's very very accomplished. So it's like, it doesn't bother me in the slightest to even say him as a contender, you know? It's just, I think there's so many interesting politics that are going to be involved in the actual making of the group that honestly may have nothing to do with these teams, if I'm being completely real with you. So who knows what's going to be happening. It may be a situation where the points don't matter and SBS is just going to do what they want because they have that power, which sucks that it feels like we don't have power. We feel like we do and we don't. Like, I'm hopeful that we really do have that influence, right? So that bridge was really nice here, right? Yeah, having that break off was cool, bringing it down, all that. No. A lot of tension coming out of it, which is cool. The little reverb on the tail end was nice. Feature breakaways are nice. I actually really like my guy right here. I think I like his vibe when he performs. It's fun for me. My note for that is I personally wish that we were originating our energy from the same places, like with our hips, you know? And I feel like some of us are, but some are peaking at a diagonal and some are pushing more forward with the pelvis. So it's like little details like that I think could really help make that look more captivating. And I wish spacing was a smidgen better. But that's life. This actually could be the same take that was in the live performance because he did the same thing. That same guy did the same thing in the live version. So I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I digress. That was that was competitive. That was great. And then we have roller coaster right here. I still feel this way. It could be because I'm on a BTS marathon right now. This is where a hormone fits. I'm telling you. It just feels that way, right? And so that's why it doesn't connect to me, the LED choices for what they're wearing, because I'm so used to the color palette of the War of Hormone music video. But that's life. I think it was good to show this concept. It shows their versatility. It's great. Just like having Beat go that more, you know, mature concept, right? Yeah. I really actually like, now I think about it, look at what ended up happening in the transition. You had these two little groupings and they ended up, you know, rotating around to do a nice partner reveal. That was actually pretty fun. And then you have Daisuke move out of it. My most improved award is going to go to Daisuke, I think, for the round out of everybody. Because I do have that. I have that always thinking in my head. Who improved the most in the show? I think Daisuke did. Based on how they've shown it. His performance in full cams has just been night and freaking day. It's awesome. And the cross is fine. Boom. Oh, he ended up throwing a little airplane. I didn't even see that in the video. Maybe you guys did. I don't know. There is a bit of a stickiness to roller coaster where it feels like an abrupt stop. Right? Now that one was more fluid the second time, so I like that. That was cute. The wave was nice. Yep. Tap it up. Yep. Tap it up. Fun. And then you have a little roller coaster moment, which is there. You have JL join in on the tail end, which is fun. Switch up is fine with the ISOs on the chest is nice. Nice. Yeah, the little add-on there looked great too. And then the little shoulder shrugs look nice out of that too. And then the bounces are fun. Oh, also, there was a, somebody had said something about I don't know if it was SBS or what, they were asking about what kind of concept or sound do we as an audience want to have for the group when they debut? And for me, to answer that question, if that was the question posed, my preference, I really liked Beat's second song. I liked Mamma Mia. Like, I think the El Captain sound, I think is pretty dope. I like it. It's cool. I I really do think Rhythm pulled a heavier SM sound here, which is probably why I probably wouldn't lean into the Rhythm ones for this challenge of sound, right? But they've had some pretty interesting ones. I feel like each group, if I'm being real, has a track or two that I'm like, ooh, I can vibe with that. Now I can't cite it immediately. I mean, like Prison, I liked, but there was heavy nostalgia involved in it. So I personally think, like, I don't know, maybe they should just go off of uh which streams or which tracks had the most streams, but then even then you have politics involved. I don't know, but for me, I like Mamma Mia. I think it's still my favorite song out of all of them, so I'd say that. But it's fine. The turnout of it is fine. Roller coaster, yeah. But I understand why they have it abrupt, because they use it as a fixed point for the little knock on the head. So I get that. All this looks fine. Like, yeah. But doesn't this feel very similar to the groove setup of their bridge with Juwon? Like the little circle. Like that felt very similar to me. Not plagiarism, it's just like an overlap in framing, which literally, which I find to be interesting, right? Like the Indian top rock out of that, which was cute. Little crisscross in the clap is nice. And the pull away was also nice too. I do know a couple members ended up getting spots on here because they weren't in the original lineup, right? I think, what was it? Steven got hopped on, Scheibel got hopped on, right? And then, was it anybody else? I think those two for sure, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, look. Celebrate. Na, 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 na. Now for this group, I mean, I kind of feel like JL's a free space. I would be shocked if he wasn't in the final lineup. If he wasn't, it proves, if I'm being honest, it proves that SBS was using JL for viewership. Not fair to JL or those that are fans of him. And I that has happened in shows before, right? So I think, for me, I'm really hoping that JL makes it to the final lineup, because he's worked hard and he's great. He's been consistently a high performer. And he does. Somebody said he looks similar to Lisa by Blackpink. And I actually would kind of agree with you, which I find so fascinating because Lisa is Thai. But JL here is Filipino. So it's just so interesting, the similarities of their faces. But anyway, so I guess the question would be, outside of JL, is there anybody here that I would be like, I could see them in the final lineup? I think Steven, actually, out of a lot of people, I think he was an early draft pick for me. I think I picked Steven and Parkon, and then Jung, oh my gosh. He was eliminated in the first rounds, which people were super upset by, which I totally get, right? And so my Chinese performer there. So I can see Steven make that final lineup. Because he's Korean, but he has an international. He's from Australia, so he's a multilingual, which can be helpful. But also he's Korean, so. So I could see if I was to pick somebody, right? The little shrugs are cute there. Na 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 na. Na na na. Ding. Cute. That was fun. So yeah, in a nutshell, does it bother me that the rankings were how they were? I try not to be bothered by that. I think this was fine. I am excited to get into the unit 2s because I technically don't know who won, so that would be like a genuine who would I pick without any influence of SBS. Because remember, all the way up until this point, for this round in particular, I have been subconsciously led by SBS on certain camera shots and choices. It's the first time I get the full cam, so that's why it's harder for me to like invest analytically to it. because there's so much bias already put in because of whatever narrative SBS wants to push. So I have to be mindful of that. But I think I still stand by this. Everybody did a great freaking job, and they should all be proud of themselves. And I'm not sitting here sounding like an old fart who's like, everyone gets a participation award. I mean, you've heard me put everybody through the ringer throughout this season, and so for me to say that, I genuinely feel that way, you know. So I'm here for this. They did great, and they should all, like I said, be proud of themselves for it. These are all great tracks for each group, and it makes sense, you know, how they chose who they chose, how they switched out who they switched out, and how the final products. Like, I think this was great. All right, we're here with the second units. I am excited about this because I do not have as much of a SBS narrative pushing for my thoughts on these. So I am so excited, and I have no idea who ended up winning what. I'm going to be looking at the episode here soon. So don't spoil it for me, but I am excited for this. We're going to watch them. I'm probably going to be a little bit more analytical on these three. I still love the fact they did a butterfly. I like the pre-chorus sound for that. That was nice. Probably one of my favorite moments of all the rounds. Oh my god. Don't break the flow, YouTube. Come on. You got this. Oh my gosh. Alright. There we go. Freaking internet. So sorry, guys. I still think about 2 p.m.'s my house with that last little bit there. Okay. My guys, my internet has not been happy with me today. So I am actually real quick gonna just fix these. It's 1080p, so sorry for the quality. But in order for us to get through these, we're gonna have to do it. This track is cool. This whole verse section right here, I mess with that. That was cool how full that was there. Okay. If this don't, guys, I'm telling you, if this don't say NCT threw up all over it, I'm telling you right now. This was NCT, not NCT song I've heard. Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna break this down for like arrangement, choreography, like that kind of stuff. I would really like to see Beat win this unit because the composition of like the choreography I really enjoyed. All of them were pretty good. I think theirs had some really a lot of tension, speed changes, and fullness about it that if you're going off of complexity or difficulty to the song itself, they had that for the units, right? So if you're going to compare stability of vocals, if we assume everybody was as stable as what is being claimed here, then when you look at, okay, then who had a more difficult time in justifying the stability? I would say Beat would be there. Rhythm, very close behind on that. I also think when it comes to the songs themselves, On and On had a very there were very distinct essences about it, where even before watching it again here, there were already certain things that were reminiscing in my brain that weren't reminding me of other tracks. It was reminding me of the song itself. And so I can only go off of my informed knowledge of K-pop and music in general. And I've listened to a lot. You know, I feel like it's safe to say I've listened to a good bit of K-pop, especially doing as many analysis as I've had at this point. So that there is something to be said about that, right? Now, does it discredit rhythm or groove? Not in the slightest. If they end up taking it, that wouldn't bother me either. But as if I'm looking at this from like a human standpoint, if Beat were to win a round, I would really hope that they would win this unit out of anything. Now, winning the full round, I have no idea. Like, I don't know who could take that. If we involve global votes, I don't know any of that. I'm not even going to try to go into that because we're going to let SBS do its whole thing. I haven't been a part of the voting process, so I'm fine with that. I'm just going off of if I was in the audience looking at the full cams, who would I pick? If I could only pick one out of the three, I would pick for Beat. Rhythm, I would do second. Groove, I would do third. But I really like Groove's arrangement a lot. So don't take what I'm saying as like, oh, Jess, you must not like it. I loved all of these. So I'm going to give the disclaimer here. It's a little checkpoint like I did in the first units. Please do not take my preferences and the things that I enjoyed about these routines as justification for you to dog or discredit or downplay other teams. We're not going to do that here, okay? Please go to X or Reddit for that. You're not going to do that in my comments, okay? I've already been seeing it in some of the other stuff. I will, well, honestly, some of you guys have done a really good job on commenting underneath them and being like, yo, this isn't the place. So I may leave it, but if it just gets a bit too much, well, I'll probably just remove it respectfully, okay? Because I'm asking you now, please don't pull that here. So if I see it, I'm just going to follow through and just not have it, okay? So just letting you know, I'm human, and I would like to not see that in my comments. Please don't say, oh yeah, she said she liked this group, so that means these groups suck. No. That's not what I said. So keep that in mind. Do I have a preference? Yes, it's Beat for this one. And that's okay. But I really like some of the choreography choices of Groove. Because the track's called Butterfly and they did a butterfly, which is an old school hip-hop move. Like, that to me, I love mess like that. I can vibe with that all day. And everybody was vocally stable. It's great. Just when you look at it, who they were competing against, I just think there was more complexity and difficulty with stable vocals. So that just works against you whenever everybody is strong vocally, you know, and that happens. Rotating through, it's fine. And also, if you think about it, because we have really gregarious tracks already in play in the round, this may not have stuck out as well as it could have. So that's another thing to remember too. This audience is seeing 6 performances, and so there is a smidgen of an overlap with some of them. So the routines that are going to stick out are going to be the ones that have they're in their own lane, right? And so I feel On and On is that. And I also think Beat's first unit it felt similar to some of the previous rounds, but it did stick out in a good way. Like unit 1, the first units, I think like those stuck out respectfully, but like when you get to unit 2, we have to be mindful of like, okay, this feels similar to a unit 1 performance that we've already seen. My brain's already saturated in these sounds, so I'm not going to appreciate it as much unless I saw it first. You know, it's just sometimes an order in which you view it can influence your preferences too. We can't negate that either. So They go all that there. I like how they travel it up. The accent there with the chest is fine. So I'll probably still do overview, but not, I'll probably go a little bit deeper though. I'll be there. I like the separation going to have the 2 on the outside, then having your 3 little small grouping here. The pickups are nice. There's your butterfly. I'm telling you. Yes, put that mess in there all day long. The shoulders were nice on that too. So it's syncopated. There is complexity, but through isolations, not as much in fullness on range, right? So we're not gonna. There is difficulty. I'm not saying that theirs is not difficult, but there are other complex, difficult things when you think about singing and doing. That there's like a little hierarchy or playing field that you kind of look at whenever you're measuring, okay, how can I rank one over another? Because it's a competition at the end of the day, you know? Even though I love them all, you have to rank them still. The butterfly, like the outlier on that. Oh my god, it's I hate saying this. His nickname, some of you guys thought it was really funny that I said he could literally be a serial killer and we wouldn't know. Just because this concept suited him so well. But Daisuke was able to get conceptually with Roller Coaster. My boy right here, this is his concept through and through. If this was the concept of the winning, like the group of Universe League, like they're doing this concept, have this boy as your face. I'm telling you, this is the epitome of puppy dog innocent energy. Get this boy there. I'm telling you. Which, side note too, the concept that Universe League, whoever the final lineup, whatever concept they go with, they're going to have to consider who fits that. Like, there's so many back-end politics that are going to be involved in the making of this group. Way more so than just votes. It's not that simple. It's never been that simple, guys. So that's honestly, too, why I'm not trying to get emotionally involved in it. And if somebody gets selected and somebody doesn't, it doesn't inherently mean that those who didn't get selected weren't good enough. It's the same thing as, you know, auditioning for Disney and not getting in because you didn't fit the type of mold that they were looking for, that they weren't going to tell you, but they just knew going in. That's something, the name of the game. Whenever you do auditions of any kind, there's always a form of expectation of those who are looking, like people who actually have the power to form the groups at the end of the day. They're the ones who know what they're looking for. And sometimes they will tell you what they're looking for and they'll stand by it, and other times they won't. And they'll just pick what they want, and then they've left the masses in rumbles, in the rubble, right? So I think that's why I don't try to like emotionally get upset whenever somebody doesn't get something. It's if somebody gets bullied, mistreated, or there's a narrative being pushed that is not appropriate for the circumstance that's taking place. Because I've touched on that on a couple episodes on this series. So, but anyway, I like the subtlety of the head on that. The resets are nice. The pickup nice. Little guitar on that. They present the hands. Little hinge overs nice there too. Little steps on the legs are really nice on that too. And they take it up. I like the snap on that, looks really great. I like the da-da-da-da, boom, boom, and the bounce is cute. The hops are fun. Points are nice. Hit, and we go. Now my guy right here, I don't know if he'll make the final lineup, but I really, really have enjoyed seeing him in the show. I'm hopeful that he's able to have another opportunity if he doesn't make the lineup. If he does, I hope he's welcomed for it. I think this would be really nice to see him there. But if he doesn't make it, I would like to see him again. I would like to see him in a group. Because I you know what I mean? Like, I really like his character and how he's gone about certain situations. Or like how you've seen him throughout the show. Could it be SBS narrative or could it just be him? I don't know. But I like it. Part of it is because he's older. And I think that's another reason too. Which is cool. I think it's just good to have like a mix of, you know, older and younger. Not like Daisuke young. I still stand by that. Like, I love Daisuke's growth. I prefer not minors debuting, but no one asked me, right? So, but I really like how this little whole breakdown of the pre-chorus is really fun. I hit this right there with a little, I call this the penguin lean. I just think it's fun. That, like this whole little segment of the track, I can listen to all freaking day. On, and then have this. No, that's a terrible combination. But, like, there's the first verse of On and On. I really, really like the setup of it. And then on, that's cool. I really like this pre-chorus here. Like, I like little tidbits of the songs. But there's not really a song outside of Mamma Mia that I like the entire composition front to back on. That was nice, cool. And the reaches are really nice, little hit, and I like the boom and the boom, the rigidness of that with the body roll is cool. And the pickup there, this is a dance hall move here. I do feel pretty confident about that. What's the name of it? Great question. Is it like called the air? It's not. It's like the air. It's something. Maybe something with an airplane. I could be so wrong. So sorry. But anyway. Yeah. The range is nice. Sidin has done really well in this group. I'm glad that he was there. Chungsub did well. The pickup's nice. Bum. The crisscrosses are fun. I'll be there. The slides are nice. Bring it up high low. The wave on that is nice with the bounce on it. The press out is cool. A butterfly. The swing and the pull around is really nice. He's giving Harry Potter is in a boarding school energy right there, just because of the fit. It's fun though. Nice little heel to heels are fun out of that. Bounce, they go to the back, which is cool. And we march away. I like the breakaways on that. It's simple and effective. It's cool. And then you have the little shamrock energy, and then we kick out of it, which is nice on the transition. The pulls are fun. That, yeah, hey, and we point, and then we end up doing the same little build up here. And down, which is nice. So it's fun. Now, whenever it comes to captivating elements of formation and dynamics, which is like this section here, the pre-course one, I really liked it the first time. I still like it the second time. But if you always like take it and you shift it or maneuver it in a way that you repackage to where I'm able to still appreciate the sounds you want me to listen for, but you make it to where I'm not feeling like we're just repeating the same thing. It keeps the integrity. You have a higher chance of keeping the integrity of the first pre-course as this beautiful outlier thing, and then you get to have something that complements it in comparison to just a repeat, because you always run the risk of it becoming redundant. Now, is this redundant? No, not to me personally, but it does take away the beauty of the creativity of the first time we saw it, because we're seeing it again, right? Just a little bit. It's still nice. I like the setup of it. And even here, it just feels the same, just different people in their groupings. Was that the point? Maybe. They sold it well if that is the case. The pull on it with the arm, take it up and over, looks really nice to push through. It's nice. Da-da-da-da, yeah. Oh, God, did you hear that? Oh, excuse me. What is going on? Rest away is nice. I like how to take it up and over. The hop is nice. I like the press. Oh, sorry. I just stopped for no reason. On a butterfly. And I like this. Do you see his wave? I'm just a fan of that. Thank you. I mean, I'm a waver, so that's why. Okay, but I like the jacket accent there with the shoulders. Fun. They go and we present the arm out, which is really nice. The head rotation's cool too. The pulls are nice. Here we go. I love that. He said, here's my moment. I'm going to see, what's another crime he could commit that we would be like, yes, this is fine. I did say arson from the last line. Well, let's be more creative. I think he could totally be in charge of an entire pyramid scheme. He'd be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I didn't just sell 15,000 units of this putty that doesn't do anything. What do you mean? And I'd be like, oh my God, you're right. Silly me. Yeah, pyramid scheme. Cool, we're here for it. Now that part's fine. The lift up's nice. I think Groove, if I'm being real too, Groove does have really good LED choices. I like the LEDs for that. Unless, I mean, at least for this round. I can attest to this round. With other rounds, I don't know. I do remember there were a couple times I was like, what is going on? I don't know if it was with Groove, though. I think it was with Rhythm, maybe. Or Beat. I can't tell you. But, no. So, I like the LED choices. That does, for me, it allows me to feel like I'm settling in on the track. Like, their costuming at least ties well with the LEDs. And I think Beats for Unit 2 was really nice, too. The presentation, Fly High, just feel like we're opening up like a plane. Crisscrosses are fun to turn out of. It's nice. The slide over, and I like to take it up and then slam it down. And then they do a little wave to that accent, which is fun. Oh. Fly, look, they're flying on butterfly. So like for me, I like the word play of the choreo a lot. Probably it's some of my favorite I've seen in the entire show is these choreography choices. Is it competitive enough? I think part of it comes down to stability on when you listen to the raw vocals that aren't modified by SBS for these takes, because we can't just say that's not happening. Were we there? Like, I can't verify that, right? And I can't just take somebody's word for it. Like, I have to physically be there to really know, right? So if everybody is pretty much on a even playing field vocally, which is what it feels like here, then you are going to look at other facets like complexity of choreo, as well as the physical demand that is required of the vocals to do that choreo too. Like that's and that may work against them here, right? But I appreciate the choreography for what it is. It's just preference game. It's a preference game on this. The fly eye, and I like how we go and we swim it from one side to the other. Crisscrosses. Nice. And then we pull. Time to go to our house because it's 2 p.m. now for a hot second. And then like we turn to face the outsides with our feature in middle. Cool. We love that. Nice. This, they did a really, really good job. And they were clean for this part too, which is really cool. It says turn it on. And hey, the music's on. And that still feels just like Hurricane by Bad Villain. Now, they don't own that. That setup is so similar though. That's whatever. The little da-da-da-da, so the syncopation on that looks really cool. The pull high-low is nice. The tension on that's cool with the levels deviation, and then you have your feature in center. He did really well here, and I wouldn't have caught what I caught about his performance feeling different in between the first section and the second section if I watched the full cam first. So I will say there's benefits of doing full version first, but that's chalked up to SBS and how they release their stuff. They always release full cams first. I prefer that, but they don't release the full versions until a week later, which is well too late because I've already watched the episodes, right? So I think it's okay. But that is something that I did note though, that his performance is really nice here, and then in the later on it feels a little bit subdued. But I picked it up because the camera really showed that facially. So, but all this is really fun. That boom, boom, over with the 2 interruptions with the hinge over is really cool. How this was interpreted was really nice. This little port de bras moment right here with the arm carriage, that does feel a bit out of place. Could it be I'm missing a word play choice? There is always that chance. So we're going to chalk it up to that. And it's really subtle and allows you to still clock your feature without anybody moving. So it's like, there's pros and cons to it for me. I feel like I have something stuck in my throat. Goodness. So I like this, the step out on it with the chest looks really nice on that. They're building up the energy. They're building up the energy here through formation changes and through complexity of syncopation, right? Through the uses of syncopation. So all that there, dun 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 dun. There's interruptions or speed changes in this. It's really nice to switch up there on going diagonal for that is really cool. Then we end up taking it, we slide, and then we have a subtle nuance of the head. I liked that the transition is to the chorus. No, sorry, it's not the chorus. We're getting close to it. And then we do our arms, nice little strong man kind of energy, right? Where we just take our arms nice and strong, and then you have your guys on the inside. When you have those 2 diagonals, they come in to join, so I like that. And then we go into a V, and then we slide them in, which is cool, and then they drop a level. So even here, we don't have it just going straight up into a V. It's a V, and then you have my 2 guys drop, and now they become outliers that actually help frame your feature quite well because he's controlling them with his arm, which is cool. I love that. Hit, so I like the swing, and notice everybody's torsos are tilted over to the side. Little things like that. We're not super stiff at the top like their previous unit was. That was one thing I could see as being a component. It didn't feel like we were all on the same page on the fluidity or how our posture was showcasing these teases of of these tension body rolls, right? That is something that can impact the overall appeal of a routine. Can be, are you all on the same page on those things? Here, little details like where your torso's going plays a huge role in that. And I think we're seeing that really well here. This feels very thorough and very prepared. Like, this is great. I like the little high five there, super fun. The pickup there is nice. I like the arms on that, which is fun. The hit also looks really nice there. There's your tension out of that, and then we knock it. The rock is cool. I think I prefer the line distribution of this track more than the first unit, but I'm also an advocate for like having more equal representation in your group. But I understand there's so many logistics, just like, you know, in who gets picked for what, who's going to be in the final lineup. There's so many components. There are a lot of components that go into who gets picked or how the line distribution works and who gets the lines. I get all that. So it's nothing to do with the groups. It's just it's a whole team affair, right? So this is, it's just preferentially, I like the variety that I'm getting more so throughout the verses. But Kyrie and Cheongi held their own though in the first unit, so we're not going to downplay that. They did great, but I do like seeing others showcased in this way too. It's nice. So you end up seeing the chest on that, which is really cool. So we end up melting out of it. Boom, nice chest. And then they have a nice little Indian top rock, and they punch it on the chest as well, and they end up resetting it there, and we slide to finish it out. Da 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 da. So nice. We're hitting that sound, which is exactly what we were hitting in accents. Turn you, hit on, and I like the hinges happening from Kyrie here. On, and I like the swerve energy on that's fine. And I like that we use this slide with the shoulder on that to help with the transition. I like the subtle transitions. You hit, da-da-dum, out, in, and on, and the pull-out's cool, and on, and then we go a little bit more, it does feel like you can entertain more house, so this jack kind of groove instinct, for me, it feels like I would want to introduce it, and you see a little bit more footwork or lower body integration here in comparison to the upper body tension that you saw in the beginning of the course, is what I'm picking up on. Switch up is nice. The wave. I'm a sucker for completed waves. Looks nice. The punches are fun. And then I like the kicks on that. It does feel very shuffle essence, right? And I like the kickball change out of that is really nice. High, low, on. No, his. All that, the pops, boom, 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 those interruptions are really fun there. That's cool. That was really cool. That caught me off guard on this full cam. That was really full for the fact I'm clocking it all the way back here on this camera shot. Goodness, that was cool. And I like this. The direction changes are cool. Well, the hit da-da-da. So I like how we take that and we press it to the back and we go up and then we drop it low. Come on now. Swing the arms, go high, low. And I like this little swimming going on here too. They said, come on now. So it does feel very conversational, more so here. It does feel a smidgen more subdued though, so I feel like we were dropping the energy just a little bit. I like the conversational element of it, so I wonder if that's what I'm clocking more so than anything else. But that was fun. Ba-da-da-da. That was cool. I like that tone there. And I like the thread to get the two levels happening there. And I like how he scuffs it and causing them to do a bridge recover coming out of it, which was nice. And he has his bra, bra, bra. Nice. High, mid, low. And I like the melts on that too. Looks cool. Body roll. Let's go. Hit, hit. Then we have a bounce. Boom. Yeah, boom, doom, doom. So I like that choice with the chest is cool. The kicks are great. Slides are nice. Here we go. You, on, and on. Nice. So it does feel like the same choreo. Inverted V with a feature in center. Keeping the energy for both courses is really tricky. I do think we were just a smidgen lower on our energy for the second time versus the first time. Could it be because we're already familiar with the track? There's always that possibility. But all this, da-da-da, that looks fine. I'm just noticing that our torsos aren't super hinged over as much the second time around. I mean, there, yeah, but maybe just the second half here. It could be that. Could it also be lack of dynamics there outside of just doing choreo? Always that possibility too. Melts are fun. Now this part is fun. I love the speed change on that. It's fun. Then they end up switching the legs. Boom, boom. And then they speed changes. Bass, bass. Come on. That's cool. Yep, turn it on. They go high, da-da-da, through, and they pick it up and bring it to the front. I like that sequence. That's fun. That's fun. Oh, so all that. He felt pretty stable there with the shoulders and everybody else coming to the front. And you have Kyrie there. And on and on. On and on and on. Cool, high, mid, low. Now, it feels like we have this dystopian vibe, and it feels like Kyrie's in Dune. Like, it's giving that kind of energy because of the hood on that. But I kind of get it, though, because his hair's like fire engine red, right? So I think, if anything, that kind of helps create a little middle ground or a filter for us as an audience to where he doesn't stick out as much because of the red. Because I'm telling you, sometimes, like, really vibrant hair colors can draw our eye unintentionally. So there's always something to be said about if somebody that you're watching in your group, all of a sudden they got fire engine red hair, you're naturally going to be like, oh, this is their era, is what I've noticed a lot of times with groups, which I find to be very fun. Spot the hair colors, everyone. Anyway, the swings are fine, little body rolls are nice, the pulse on that is cool, you kick out of it, and boom, boom, boom. Nice. Hit around, boom, boom. And that right there with the heel digs with the shoulders to add in is nice. The shoulders are fun to pick up there. Ball changes. And then they toss it up in the opposition. Is cool. So it does look like everybody's on the sides except for Cheongi and Kyrie. They're in opposition. That's absolutely fine. I think that's cool. Honestly, I think it was pretty smart to have Cheongi and Kyrie be each other's mirrors on a lot of stuff. Because you notice that in the first unit, they were mirroring each other. They were featured in each other's, like, when you saw line distribution, if you look, it was like Kyrie's section in the first course, and then Cheongi did that section in the second course. So that was actually really good for practicing, getting him caught up on his positioning, is going off of him. And that's what happened. So that's cool. So yeah, this is a very, very competitive track. And I think that if any of them's going to get them ahead in any way, this one's a pretty good indicator of it. But if there's global voting involved in this round, Rhythm's gonna probably take it, I think, because they have a huge pool of international voting. It's global vote for a reason, right? So I think I would not be surprised if Rhythm ends up taking it if global votes get involved. I can see Beat take it on onsite for Unit 2. But then with Groove, they've always had stability in vocals, and I don't know the politics on how are they screening people going into the space, because if they're intentionally like only having a select number of people for Groove, for Rhythm, and for Beat, then that feels more fair. But we've had cases, and I said this in the original analysis for this round, if they're not screening for that, then you may have an outlier of one group representing on the on-site, and that's is that the fans' fault? Personally, I would like it if fans were to watch and actually like vote for one that they liked and not try to be super strategic about it. But also, it's like, I've played the strategy game many a times in my day where it's I want my team to win, so I'm going to make sure I don't vote in this way. So, like, I get both sides of it. Like, I'm not going to negate it. We're human at the end of the day, doing human things on a subjective criteria that doesn't inherently exist. It's going off of public opinion. So that's not a justifiable enough criteria to make it feel objective. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, so all this, the switch up there is fun. Bringing it through. Good for them in the pleather. I mean, those are so freaking tricky to dance in for me, or maybe it's just the ones that I wore. Maybe they just weren't for my body type, the kind that I got, but they all look great in these. This feels yeah, it's fun. The switch up is fun. The punches are great. This is very strong. So like I'm saying, it's going to be I feel it's going to be close between Rhythm and Beat for on-site for these. I think Groove, very strong vocally, and if vocals are as big of a component like I've heard they are, I can see Groove be competitive too, despite theirs being simpler. No, that doesn't mean that theirs is less than. Remember that. I'm not saying that. We're just going off of vocal stability in comparison to compositional choreography. The levels are really nice there. They have complexity going into this verse. A lot of syncopation, switch up. So it's nice. da 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 da. This was Steven did very well on this track. I think this track showcased him in a great way. Could that be because of how SBS shot it? Yes. Got to chalk it up to that too. And that was nice, and they go in and out. I like that we grab the arms, bringing it down, and then we have this little moment here. Look at that kick. Come on now. Na na na. Nice. To take the arms out, down, and then we do a little presentation. And that was a really nice way to get one member to be with one group and then integrate into another. That was pretty smooth, honestly. Good job for that. Presentation's nice, cool. Yep, looks great. Swing down, low, high. JL, I will say this is a huge compliment to him for this. A lot of times with people with his type of movement quality, they run the risk of being too full in a group. He has not shown that in any analysis that I've done in a way enough for me to like make it a note, because I've touched on it in other K-pop groups, especially in the rookie era, where one member or two members who are like main dancers, they're like popping the freak off, and everybody else is doing like the normal amount for the group. And then there's a time for that, and there's a time to not do it. And I know he has experience being an idol in the Philippines, right? But it's still a different industry, and there's different preferences there, and there's something that we can totally respect about that. It's in these cases, he could really go super, super full, but he knows how to balance it well in his features and whenever he needs to be cohesive with other members. That's a really good skill, and I'm hopeful that he does end up debuting in the group, because he is very consistent and he does very well. And I mean, I don't have any major notes on it, honestly, in my humble opinion. So I'm really hopeful for his success in that realm. I think it would look bad on SBS, if I'm being real. Like I already said it. If they did not have him in the final lineup, just from, if you look at global voting influence alone, like that's a huge indicator. We can't negate it, right? It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. It's still a thing. It's a global vote. It's a popularity contest, guys, in certain facets. That's life, right? So anyway. We go want to hit the brakes, boom, boom, the switch up there, boom, 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 all that there. Really nice and isolated. And like the swing up, and having everybody drop low except for your feature, like that. And then having the break is fine, a little tap, tap, tap. I like the tap. Part of me wishes we traveled it, but I don't mind that it's stuck there, because I could clearly hear what sound they were going off for that. So, once again, it's one of those things that's like, I get it, but still, right? High, low, kicks are fine. 3-step turn, new feature in front, take it up, like the drop there, like the shoulders on this, excuse me. And then they end up rotating the wrist towards the inside, blading it back, and then we have the chest on this too. And they go up and snap up, and then they throw through. Really nice. I like the intensity, stage presence coming from my member there. Hit the brakes. They go off. I think my one thing with this one is we do have a lot of people going off, or I'm noticing it, that they're going off more, and it feels like we have a lot of these little small group integrations, which, once again, it's a preference thing. On camera, that doesn't matter. Full cams is when you really see that. So I would say that would be my one separation between beat and rhythm. Even if beat did it, I didn't notice it as much because of how they package their groups. So just keep that in mind. That's fine. I like the choreography choices though, but because we didn't have, when you're dealing with trios, it is harder for levels, it's harder for dynamics, it's harder for those things, but you can make more contact. You can do partner work, you can do a lot of interesting stuff there, but we didn't do that. It feels like a small combo, and then we add more people in. It feels like we're reintroducing the same formula that we did for verse 1. Not their fault. It just feels that way to me, right? But the choreo is still nice though. We present, it goes hit and hit. And then we go high and low, boom, boom, boom. And swing, swing, bring up, and then we go down and low. And I really like that little speed change with the knock. That was cool. Body roll, and we go hit it in. Then we have our tension here. The pulls are nice. We swing it up, and I like how we ring it on the ear. We pop it, or just a little accent there with the chest is fun. You roll it through. I like the 1, 2, 3. I like the bass, how we introduce it 3 times, and how we turn that into a little ripple moment there, which is fun. Yeah, ba-da-da. A little jump there. That was cool. That was nice. And then having everybody, on the sides, the fact that we didn't hear any, impact on the ground. I always am impressed, no matter how big or small the jump is. I always like the fact that we don't hear this, like this interruption, but sometimes it does remind you, oh, they are singing live. I mean, in a competition, people will scrutinize that, but at concert, they'll be like, wow, I'm so proud. It just depends on the audience sometimes. Swing, swing. So that was interesting that we had it more popcorn or randomized in the swings, which was fun. Da, 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 da. Nice. The swings are cool. So it's the same choreo, but you notice it's subtly more repackaged. I do appreciate that element. That's something that I did give as a, just to keep in mind with grooves, was repackaging it enough to where we can, still appreciate the choreo, see it from a different vantage point. It's really more so those kind of logistics. Swings are fine. The kick was nice. The bleed up there, little shoulder rolls were fine. Bring it to the inside. I like the little porta bra moment. It's fun. And they walk forward, and then we have the little knock. Is fine. This was nice, and I like the elbow to elbow travel across from the back, which was nice. Bring it down. This feels like a different take. And I like the piano, that dee-dee-dee-dee, or the synth that we heard there, and I like the levels. Like, this is a cool shot. Then he ends up unbuttoning, but does he actually unbutton there like he did in the performance? It kind of looks like it, but I don't know. I like that moment here, and we open it up, rotating it through. There's your little tease moment coming out of that. And then we trace it up. And we go hit, and it goes ding, 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 syncopating it through, hit till heel. And then I like the body roll out of that, which is nice. And then we slide out of it. There's our pulse, and I like how he went way more full. It allowed us to clock him over on the side, even though he's not center and everyone's pulsing and it's really full. I really liked his fullness there, right? Cool. Low, high. Accents there are really nice. Yeah, the punches out of that was cool. Boom, hit. The swings are nice. And then we end up doing, this is like a shoulder with a wave coming out of it, which is cool. And then we go wave, and then we accent it towards the inside, which is nice. And then we hit it, which is also cool. There's your tension traveling it up. I like the head coming out of that too. Then we have a little body roll with the throw. Then we have an extra throw out of it. The turn is good. Say yeah. And into the breaks. And then we have the imaginary Western hat, and then we knock it down. Cool. So those are kind of my thoughts in all of this, and I'm really proud. I just can't say that enough. So proud of all of the contestants of this show, because they have all shown immense growth. Some have shown ahead above, like, immense, so much more growth than I was expecting, which was super dope. And I am excited to take a look. I'm probably going to double up and watch both episodes back to back when they launch. But I'm so glad these full cams are out. I feel like it's been too long, but it's good to actually be able to appreciate them. It's great. Everybody did well. And however the results pan out, please be, at least under my comments, just please be respectful to each other. Like, you're allowed to root for your team. I love that. I love that you have a team. I love that you have a fan, like, as a fan, you have preferences. That's great. The point of the show is to have people that you want to support. I get that, right? But just huge humble reminder that the more negative you show up to the comment section, the higher the likely your comment will get flagged by YouTube, flagged by other people, or it will be removed by me. Because remember, I am not Reddit. I am not somebody who's just gonna let you free fall and say whatever you want to say in my comments, in the sense of dogging other teams just because I said something positive about yours. That's not what we're doing here, okay? So the fact I've had to say that multiple times throughout this analysis has told you I've been seeing it. So that's my warning shot. I'm telling you that don't get your feelings hurt if you don't see your comment a day later that you typed out if you were saying some not positive things. We're not here for that, okay? So you're allowed to be constructive. Be constructive to me. Don't be constructive about the groups. When it comes at the expense of another group, that specifically, you're allowed to be constructive, but just not anti a group for the sake of, because your favorites aren't on that team. So keep that in mind. This has been really fun. Like, don't take what I'm saying as like I'm not having fun. I'm having a freaking blast. I wish, part of me still wishes that the full cams were my first look at these routines, because it kind of, I don't know, this felt like a very underwhelming reaction because there wasn't really anything to react. It was just composition analysis, right? And I didn't really feel like I needed to go in the nooks and crannies of these, because we already knew the results of Unit 1. Unit 2, there's so many political back-end stuff. There's going to be a lot of global vote involvement. It's like, I could say whatever, and and it's not gonna, like, the results are not gonna be affected by my opinion, which I know that, but you see what so sorry. You see what I mean? So, I don't know. I will probably, most likely, our analysis that we do for the last challenge will probably be full versions. We're gonna appreciate it. Dive in. It's gonna be great. Y'all know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!